Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So in the previous lesson, we studied topic aspire to end defilement. So we know to check whether we be able to end the defilement, as we often chant at the last part of the chanting. So according to the topic, that previous topic, so we would check if we have enough the characteristic. So we able to end the defilement, become a noble person, and if not, we should improve ourselves to be the better one. So that is the last previous lesson. So today lesson, the question come out that we aspire to aspire to end the defilement. So which is the defilement is our mind. But when we practice, like we practice meditation here, we try to, while we're sitting, we observe the breathing in, breathe out, which belong to the body. Or we do walking meditation, we follow the steps, which also belong to the body. So we practice first with the body or with the mind. There will be somebody say that I don't practice with the body, like breathing, breathe out. I want to watch our mind, something like that. So that is the today topic, and today's topic is based on one discourse in the connected the Samyutta Nikaya, the collection of connected discourse. So one time the Buddha asked the bhikkhu monks, when it comes to this body made up of the four principal states. So this body made up of four principal states. The four principal states, or the great element, is the earth, the water, the air, and the fire. So it is not a real fire or the real water, but it's just the characteristic. So in our body, or every material, the things consist of four elements, four principal state. First one is the earth. Earth is the hardness, the softness. Water is something like stickiness, similar to water. That's what they say. The fire is just like the temperature, maybe cold or hot, and the air is the movement. So the thing combined, these four things combined, and thus we have the materiality, such as our body. So when it comes to this body made up of four principal states, an unlearned ordinary person. So unlearned ordinary person in Pali we call Puthujjana. Ordinary person means the one who comes to produce many various kind of defilements. So it's called the Puthujjana, the ordinary person, or another word is worldling. He or she include among many people who engage in the low and immoral quality, different from the noble person. And they different from the noble person in the aspect of virtue, learning good things, good knowledge, etc. So there are two kind of Puthujjana, two kind of ordinary person. One is called blind Puthujjana, blind ordinary person, means the one who doesn't know what is the teaching of the Buddha is, the good thing is, and the other one is a good, ordinary person. Kalyana Puthujjana means the one who not the noble person yet, but they're trying to improve themselves. be better person, something like that. So in this case, when it comes to this body made up of the four principal states, an unlearned ordinary person. Unlearned means lack of learning, lack of questioning. I mean, after learning, should be questioned to clear what they learn, and then after questioning, they should have the idea in their mind, discriminate the teaching. The teaching regard the aggregate, such as our body combined is a five group, or the element, or the sense space, or the teaching about the dependent origination, how the thing, because of this one, another thing appears, something like that, or about the four establishment of five mindfulness, etc. So this person, ordinary person, apply ordinary person, unlearned, who doesn't know the teaching of the Buddha. But for this person, it's easy for them. He or she might become disenchanted, dispassionate, and free. Disenchanted means be sick of this body. It means no interest, or not find pleasure in, and desire to be escaped from this body. Why is that? Because when they can see, they can see this body, we can see this body made up of four principal states, and it can be seen when it the characteristic of accumulate, disperse, taken off, and led to rest. It increase, it decrease, it produce the production and destruction. So you can see, I use the picture here. The body, our body is not the same the whole life. And baby is too small, then grow up, then be getting old and getting sick in the last part of our life. So it's not all the same. Sometimes it increase, sometimes it decrease, sometimes it's produce, sometimes it's destruction. So for an ordinary person who doesn't know anything about the teaching of Buddha, he or she can see it. And because of seeing it, so they can be no interest in the body anymore, no find pleasure in the body anymore, and want to escape from it, be free from it. So that is about the body. But when it comes to the mind, to what is called the mind, what is called the sentience, and consciousness. So there are three words here to use for the mind. What we call the mind. The first is chitta, the second is mana, and the vijnana. It called different but refer to one things. So when it comes, we call the chitta, the mind, can be translated in the mind, because it has the characteristic as the ground for the wonderful things. So it's the same mind. We have the same mind, but the person who practice well, they can attain jhana absorption and even can have the psychic power. So that's the wonderful thing of the mind can do. So not the same mind as everybody, but that person like can fly in the sky, something like that. Or that person, another meaning of the chitta is of the mind is it have the characteristic as the domain of mysterious things. So it can observe various things outside in the outside world. And another meaning of the chitta is that we have the same mind, but sometimes that mind connected, associate with good things. Like we wholesome mind, we have wholesome mind, and sometimes the same mind, but connect, associate with the bad things, like angry, like greedy. So that's the meaning of the chitta, and the meaning of the mana can be translated in a sentence, in the sense of thinking, the mind thinking. And it can, the third one, the vijnana, can be translated in consciousness, mean being conscious, knowing what happened. So all refer to what we call the mind. So when it comes to the mind, we have body here, we have mind here. When it comes to the mind, even whatever we call it, an ordinary, unlearned ordinary person, it is difficult, it is unable, not capable for them to become disenchanted, to become dispassionate, to become free from this what we call mind. It's not easy for them. Because, why is that? Because for a long, long time, they've been attached to it, take it as their own, and mistaken it. Attached to it means be swallowed by craving. Then we seize it. And we take it as their own. We think that it's our own property. We think that our mind is our own property. And mistaken what? This is mine, I am this, and this is myself. So when we think this is mine, it's grip of craving, seizing with various kind of craving. And when we think I am this, and this, it means the grip of conceit, mana, conceit. So there are 9 kind of conceits. We compare with other person, with the person better than us, equal us, or lower or worse than us. So among these 3, there are 3 levels. We think we better than them. We think we equal to them, and we think we worse than them. So totally it's 9 case of mana, of conceit. And the last one, this is myself, is the grip of wrong view, connect with various 62 kind of wrong view. So with the craving, with the conceit, and with the wrong view. So because of that, because of that for a long, long time, in the samsara for a long time, it is not easy for the unlearned ordinary person to be free from it, to feel displeasure from it. But to compare between the body and the mind, the materiality and the immateriality, so it is better, the Buddha say, it is better to seize the body as mine, as myself, than the mind. If we have the choice to choose between them, so it is better to choose the body. Why is that? Because it is easy to see the dangers of the body. It is easier if we have the choice, but we should not, right? We should not choose it. But if we have the choice, we should choose that, because it is easier to see the dangers of the body than the mind. And because it is visible, we can see it. But the mind is not visible. It is very, very difficult to see it. And how is difficult? For the body, we can see, sometimes we can see that our body can sustain for a year, we last for a year, for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, or even longer time. Even we say that our body is last for that long, like 20 years, like 50 years, but is it that true that it lasts for that long time? Where the physical, the materiality belongs to our body from the time we were young, is it the same when we get older, like 30, 40 times? Or is it the same when we get older, like 60, 70? And the materiality things, is it different from morning into afternoon? The afternoon, is it different from the first watch of the night, or the second watch of the night, or the last watch of the night? Is it different when we walking, the materiality of the body? Is it different when we walking? Same with when we standing, or same with when we sitting, or same with when we lying down? Or even go to more detail. This is what you will see when you practice walking meditation. Is it the same walking, the same movement of the body? We, in a walk, in a thing we call walk, so first we have to lift our foot, then raise it up, then move it forward, then lower it down, touch the ground, and pressing the ground. Even we say it's the same kind of body, but not the same. So it's easier to see, it's easier to observe. And cannot say that it lasts for a long time, even it seems to be. But when it comes to the mind, which is called mind, and also sentience, and so consciousness, arise as one thing and cease as another, all day and all night. Here, arise as one thing and cease as others, as another, should not be understood like another things, another mind arise, and another one not appear yet and cease. Is not mean that. But we seem to see that one thing, one mind arise, but we see different things cease. Seems to be like that, but it's not exactly like that, because the mind go really fast. So here what I want to share, I often share with you. This is the picture of the mind, how the mind process. We call Chittaviti. How the mind process, and it really fast. We have the board at the back. We call Abhidhamma. It's all of the things is referred to one mind, one consciousness. So in the process, in our life, the stream of mind, the stream of consciousness continuously, and each round here, each circle here is referred to one consciousness. And the consciousness is really fast. We call one khana, or one, we can think like one moment. And it's really fast. There's an example that one snap of the finger, it can happen 100,000 koti mai, and koti can be referred to 10 million. So 100,000 multiplied 10 million. So it's a lot of consciousness to arise. So this is the example of the process of the mind at the very first moment of our life. So this is the rebirth mind. So after the rebirth mind, there are another 16 we call life continuum, and then open the door, and then the processing mind. So there will be 16 of them. Then the first materiality things of the body arise. So the materiality things need 7 moments of the mind to arise. It's slower than slower than the mind. You got what I mean? So therefore, it's easier to see the materiality things than the mind because it's too fast. And when we say about the mind all day and all night, we think that our mind will disappear or will be paused when we sleep. It's not like that. In the previous lesson, I think few previous lesson, I shared with you how we get dream. In the dream, the mind also process, but it really not clear. The object not clear, and our mind not strong enough, so that's why we cannot remember. But it's still processing. And even when we sleep, deep sleep, we have deep sleep. The mind not process, not have the process part, but it have the life continuum to continue. So you can imagine that in our cycle of samsara, our mind is like a stream, never stop. It can be paused with the life continuum. So there's an example of the monkey. Like the monkey in the forest, it will grab and hold of one branch, and then let it go, and then grab another, and then let it go and grab another one. So in the same way, refer to our mind. So in the forest, in the jungle of the tree, so it's referred to the many objects outside of us. So our mind is like the monkey. We grab that object. And we grab this object, and we release and take another one after another. Then there will be no stop between them. You may think like the monkey sometimes it not grab another and go down and rest on the ground, but it's not like that for our mind. Our mind never stop. It can be stopped, it can be paused in the life continuum, but it continue when it have an object strike, and then it will open the door and process the object. So therefore, in the today topic, we talk about the body and the mind. The Buddhas talk about an unlearned ordinary person. For the unlearned ordinary person, the one who doesn't know about the teaching of the Buddha, he or she can easier to see the danger of the body easily, and this is not easy to see the mind because she take it too long, grab it, sees it with the with craving, with the wrong view, with the conceit, too long time. It's not easy. And between the two, is it better to grab, to seize the body, but not the mind, because easier to see the dangers of it and be free from it. But the mind is really difficult. It's really fast, and it's just not easy to catch it. That's why, come back to our topic, the question raised out. We practice first with the body or with the mind. Even our main goal in the mind, the defilement of the mind, but we cannot start with the mind because it's too fast. It's not easy. It's not visible for us to see. But we have to start with the body, like in breath out breath or the step. And even with the body is sometimes difficult to see. Like we breathe in and breath out and then fly out somewhere, or we step here and then think about something else, right? So between the body and the mind, start with the body, and then when we strong enough and our mindfulness strong enough, we'll be able to follow the mind. So thank you for your listening.
Okay, discussing time. You heard about the Puruchana, we translate in English, it's called ruling or ordinary person. And he mentioned there's two types of Puruchana ruling. One is a very, immoral, not so virtuous, just do according to the instinct, do according to the greed, anger, and delusion. And the other type of Puruchana ruling is the one who has moral, virtuous, and wholesome. But then again, it's different than the type of, another type of person called Arya, or the noble, because the noble also has virtuous, moral, and all that. So what is the good Puruchana in the area is different. Both of them are good. The only difference is the Puruchana is on the process of converting to Arya. So within the process, you are not attained the irreversible yet. So you could fall back to unwholesome and do all that thing because your path is not certain. When you step over the Arya, the noble one is an irreversible. That area no longer will have the characteristic of immoral or not virtuous, thing like that. So that one, I want to get that one clear. So if you are now practiced and there's time that you very virtuous, very moral, very good, very wholesome. But if you are not consistent and persistent, you can always fall back to being unwholesome and then you go back. So you are on and off. The other one is irreversible. You always stay in this state at all time. So I don't want to get that one out, the difference between the good Puruchana and the Arya. So let's go back to the mind. This is a very technical, get into the technical can be very difficult to understand if you don't have the basics. So as you know, our mind is not just one static mind. It's dynamic. It continues to change. So what he has in there, the bubble or the circle, is they are more like the segment or the moment of the mind. So our mind actually in a constant change, in a flux of constant change. So the thing that you saw, the bubble, you can consider it as the state of mind. You have one mind, but you have many, because of the condition, your state of mind changes at all time. So let's say that if you're not careful, then your mind can actually attach to things when you become greedy, right? So your mind become a greedy mind. But then again, sometimes you practice and you realize that being greedy leads to a lot of suffering. So you need to be more generous. You need to be less attachment. So you would be less attachment. So your state of mind is less attachment. So that become a less attachment, a generous mind as compared to a very greedy mind. So there you go. The states change. Depends on the condition that get involved. So that's why the conditions, but that's why we have many state of mind like that. And it's a continuous, and why we have it separate, because the characteristic of the mind is rise and it pass away. It rise and it pass away. As we speak, when we have billion and trillion of state of mind changes at all time. So that's why we call impermanent. Our mind is always ever changes. So it's become impermanent. The good thing about it is impermanent because it gives us opportunity to make a difference. That's the beauty of it. Otherwise, if you are if you have this one static mind, if you are greedy, you feel forever be greedy. There won't be any generous mind. But that's not that way. It changes. It grabs the condition of greed, you might become greedy. And then later on you be more generous, your mind become generous. So it's ever changing. That's the moment that give us the way to make a difference. Otherwise, you continue to be in that state, and if you're miserable, you will forever be miserable. There's no happiness in your life. And if you're happy, you will always be happy, no miserable. So that's not how it works in Buddhism perspective. So there you go. There's a lot of state, moment of the mind, of the state of the mind. It changes according to the condition, the environment. So go back to the title, the topic of the lesson, that body and mind. When you practice, which one you practice first? He mentioned that defilement is part of the mind, right? And defilement lead to suffering is part of the mind. So, but we practice Buddhism is to end the suffering. So why is it that sometimes we start out the body? Because when you meditate, you take in breath, out breath, you do walking. That's part of the body. So you actually practice the body or you practice the mind? Because our body and mind, they interchangeably, or they interact, they're interdependent. And the body, you need to, because the body easier to observe, easy to see, easy to practice, in the sense that you're able to aware of your in breath and out breath. You're aware of your steps because it grows, not subtle like the mind. So, but in order for you to see what the activity of the mind, your mind need to calm first, need to calm down, need to be more concentrated. But how can you calm and concentrate the mind? So that's why you need the body to use it as an anchor, or something that you can hold on to, and then you continually hold on. You kind of settle the mind down. That's how you can see the mind. That's how you can and recognize whether this mind is a troublemaker or not. That's how you need to use it to practice. So because the body is easier to see. That's why you concentrate with the body first. Then, when the body calm and the mind calm a little bit more, you'll be able to see, the activity of the mind. The reason we recognize this mind is not one static, but dynamic, continue to change. How is it? Because you have concentrated mind, your mind become very, very sharp. Then you'll be able to look at the stream of the mind going, and how is it changes. That's how we realize that mind is not constant. It's always changes according to the condition. That's why we notice that a breath practitioner gets so mind concentrated, he'd be able to actually see how many mind that happened during the process. So it's all about the work of the mind that you see. And the mind is a phenomenon. It can make something extraordinary that you could imagine. Like some people who has psychic power, they can actually walk in the air. They can actually dive down to earth, like hard earth. They can actually, dive in dirt like water. They can access other people's mind. That's called the psychic supernatural power of the practice. But they cannot do it without using, the mind concentration to develop it. So it's a very powerful, tool. But at the same time, it could be very demeaning, very low, very unwholesome when you connect it with unwholesome, like greed, anger, and delusion. So there you go. It's something that we need to discover, that the Buddha point out already. So let's go back to this picture. We have mind, citta, vijnana, and mana. Does it mean that we have just only there we have labeled? There's many others too, but he only labeled 3. Does it mean that we have 3 minds? Actually, we only have 1 mind. But that mind has different functionality. Makes sense? Just like a father, a man, And if he has children, he's the father. And when with his children, he take care of the children, he feed, he play, so he's a father. But when he go to work, he's an employee or a manager or doing something. When he go out there doing something good or charity, he's a volunteer. So one person, but he can have different functionality, different function of responsibility. When he perform the fatherly duty, he's the father. He just do only that. Not employee. He doesn't get paid for that. He doesn't, so he's the father, but he's the man. Same man, same woman, right? A woman, she can be a mother, she can be a teacher, she can be an employee. And when she's in that position, she do only that. You cannot do like employee, but at the same time and do the mother thing or the father thing because, you know what I mean, right? So there's only one mind, but have different some functionality. So when chitta has the greed, anger, delusion, and then vijnana is the aware or consciousness, be able to see and knowing that. So when you have a greedy mind, if you practice well enough, your mind will see you are greedy. Right now you're greedy, right? Or you do the thinking, like mana is the one that does the wandering, thinking and all that. You'll be able to recognize that, oh, your mind right now is wandering off. Thing like that. So one, but it has the functionality. Sometimes it can step out the circle and actually see what happened. So that's why when we meditate, when our mind is calm, when our mind is angry, we recognize it. And then we know the knowledge of how to divert, how to treat it, how to make it change the state of mind so that it become more wholesome, be more happy, or we attach to that state of mind, stay in that state of mind and be unwholesome and be unhappy. So you have this knowledge to decide whether you should continue or you should change it. So that's all the beauty of it. The body is just the physical part, right? The material part. And he mentioned that the Buddha gave an analogy or a simile that if you are to choose, you shouldn't attach to anything. But if you are to choose, then choose the body because it's easy to see the changes than the mind. Because it's physical, it's visible that you can see. If you're so attached to the body, some people so attached to the beauty, they're so happy, so proud of their beauty. But then if they realize that their beauty will change over time, so there you go. It recognize that your beauty you can never preserve it as always, like that as always. It will change, and if you see it, then you become less attached to it. And become less attached to it, be less suffering for you. Some people are so beautiful, so glamorous, right? And if they see some changes in their face or their body, they become very unhappy. That's how they do go out and do cosmetic surgery, try to bring back the beauty that you used to have, but it makes it worse, right? So see the reality. So the physical it gives you the opportunity to see something easier than the mind. But if you notice the mind, people use it all the time, mind change. The moment you decide to do something and then the next moment, I don't want to do it again. So mind change. People say it all the time, but they don't recognize the true nature of it. See, a lot of time we bring it up like, oh yeah, mind change. Yeah, I know that. But if you know that, why you have so much trouble? You have too much suffering, right? Or people say, oh, life is impermanent. Oh yeah, I know that. Buddhism is something I already know. But if you already know, why you keep you got suffering all the time? If you know, you should be happy. But how come you fall back to be happy, right? So sometimes it's obvious, we know this, but we don't keep it up. We don't persist or consist to see it, the true nature, and then, have a true understanding. Yeah, a lot of us, when we talk about Buddhism, it sounds so easy, something I already know. You already know why you keep coming back and complain you're so unhappy, right? Like that. So you know, but not deep enough or concrete, right? So that's why the body is the one that's easier to see, and we use the body to help our mind so that we could see. And the mind is the core that we need to work on, not the body, right? Okay. You have questions? Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, sati, when we mention sati mean mindfulness in Buddhism. Sati mean right mindfulness. And if you forget, that means you don't have sati. Forgot the mind. What do you mean forgot the mind?
Okay, take it like this. We have the 4 steps establishment of mindfulness. Mm-hmm. So we start with the body, and when you practice, your sati, your mindfulness will be stronger and stronger, and can catch things faster. And then when you catch faster, that you'll be able to catch the movement of the mind. So all about the sati, but the power is stronger and stronger day by day.
But she mentioned about forget. Did you?
Focus.
Oh, focus. Oh, so sorry. That's why I said you say sati and then you say forget. Okay, focus. Yeah, when you focus in the sense that you stay with the object, right? Right. You just follow, continue aware of it. Yeah, so that's called focus, right? Keep watching it. Don't lose sight. Keep watching it is to observe. Yeah, focus. I'm sorry. Somehow I heard it, but forgot. Yes. So, did you say something you want to say? Oh, you understood what she said. Sorry. I need to clean my ear.
Working out a lot. Well, I've been working out for years, but I feel like I'm making progress. But what you're saying is what I've been doing. So usually the mind, quiet the mind, because if you start with the mind everywhere, then you can't even track what you're thinking or what you're feeling. Right. And so using the body, to quiet the mind enough to where you can look at it and observe, because I'll have these things where sometimes I'll think I'm doing something good, or but then a defilement will come up, and then, like, say I'm trying to help someone, but then I start getting angry because I'm not doing it right, or something like that, and then it kind of switches quickly before. So what I'm trying to do is catch it, before it gets bigger. Yeah, catch it right there, and then replace it with like loving kindness instead of that. So I've been doing that a lot with the mindfulness and just being aware of my mind.
Right.
And it does help to focus on the body and sort of the present moment, because then it makes it easier to sort of observe thoughts. Right. And then just because it's something you've said a few times that is really helpful for me is to, because the bigger the fire, the harder it is to put out. Yeah. So if it's a little spark, it's
easier to take it out.
So I've been focusing on taking it when it's very small.
That's what it is. Be mindful, not just only sitting, following in breath and out breath, or doing walking meditation. Be mindful on your step. You have to be mindful at all times in whatever the activity is. Let's say that he's counseling someone. So he got to be mindful with what he's saying. At the same time, he needs to watch his mind, right? That's why being mindful of what we say is the practice, like in breath and out, is training us to be well versed in observing, of not losing track. So when we're sitting like this in the control environment that's not so much interact on the outside, we train our mind to be very good as following and aware of it, like in breath and out breath, whatever distract, you recognize it and go back. Training your mind that way. So you become very skillful in tracking your in breath and out breath. Then later on when you talk, you also be very good, skillful in when you talk. That way you know that you are talking who you are talking to. At the same time, You learn another technique that also watch your mind aware of whatever the activity that happened in your mind. Let's say that you're aware of what you're saying and the person in front of you. And for some reason, the other person not understanding or resist whatever, there's some agitation rising in your mind. You'll be able to catch it. When you catch it, what are you going to do with it? You will decide whether I will get frustrated or should I need to calm down. I need to work with this agitation, have loving kindness, diverted thinking, right thinking, right view, things like that. You need to do something with it. So being mindful help you to recognize, the activity of the mind. And the next step is what should you do to divert it or to change it. Change it from unwholesome to wholesome. But for the untrained one, they just talk. They just keep talking, and then they're not aware of it. The agitation rising already to the point that they lose it and then start getting angry and everybody becomes nasty. Right? So that's the difference between the person who practices and the person who don't. Yeah. So that's why it's very helpful. So practice when you sitting meditation, practice to be mindful.
It's the way of training you to be skillful in watching whatever that you were doing, talking physically or mentally. Make sense? So don't just think that, this is boring. A lot of people come to me and say, sitting meditation is so boring. I keep in breath, out breath, and so boring. Well, when you learn to do something from the beginning, it's very boring, right? Like my nephew who come here to learn Vietnamese, right? They have to learn the alphabet. When am I going to write? When I'm going to write a poem? When I'm going to write a composition? When I'm going to write Vietnamese? I say, you can't write a Vietnamese if you don't verse with the alphabet. Like somebody who doesn't speak English, they want to go out and converse in English. How can you converse in English if you don't know, the alphabet, the syntax, thing like that? It's boring from the beginning, but that's set the track for later on. So a lot of people come here, they want result right away. They depressed, they want to be happy right away. But being depressed is not just something that overnight. It's the whole process to get you to the point that you get depressed. Before you fall, you have to, you just like fall. You're on the ground, right? It takes the whole process. So it's the same way. You get yourself back. It's the whole process. You have to lift your body and, support yourself and you get up. You can't say up and then you just like in the air, right? So anyway, meditation, all of it is called training. That's it. And then the more you train, the more skillful you get. But you gotta stay on it and you gotta learn the technique bit by bit and eventually be well versed at it. It's nothing easy at the beginning. That's why I always say no pain, no gain.
And when you sit down, and already sit down, and now sit down. And my mom, when the meditation, when the time meditation, my mom sit down in the chair, and now I thinking, and already they move, and they look all the time and make the noise, and my mom get mad. My mom mad, and when she did that, I said, I'm not going to sit down over there and talk to you because then I cannot concentrate meditation. And she talked with Noi. I so proud. Noi, you hear that, but you know what they already do. Now I said, I hear that, but I don't care. I focus on meditation. I said, my eye.
Yes.
I know.
That's the thing. People have the wrong understanding.
Now I talk with my mom and let my mom know what.
Yes. See, that's the thing that
the teacher should give them the guidance. When you meditate, you can't make the world shut up, right? You cannot quiet the world. The world go on with their own thing. Your job is to not be affected
not to be disturbed by the noise outside. Of course, when you sit together, when you new, you got to help each other out a little bit. But then again, sometimes people, very difficult for them to sit still. They need to move. They need to do this. And that's their nature. That's part of greed, anger, and delusion. But you're here to do it for yourself, not to show other people, right? So you got to work with yourself. You got to understand the true technique. And that job is part of the teacher, the guide, the one who guides the meditation. But when we learn it, whatever it is, we need to take care of our mind and body. Right? Can't tell people to shut up. When someone make noise, it agitates you. That's your opportunity to learn and train your mind to be better at it. So later on, when you're good at it, people can come and insult you, and you won't be affected. That's the beauty of the practice. You can't say, hey, I'm practicing meditation. You got to be quiet. You better be nice to me. Who are you? Who are you to ask me to be nice to you? Have you been nice to me? If you have not been nice to me, don't ask me to be nice to you, right? Hey, I got to do this. I need to walk, and my walk makes noise. So being nice to me is not to say anything. Just like that. A lot of people do that. They get angry at other people when they meditate and someone make noise, right? So that's your problem, not theirs. Your problem is to be bothered by this kind of thing. So you got to work your problem. That's why I like to name my devotee to call Chitta Maro. That's his name. To conquer the defilement. Mara is like defilement. That's the defilement. And Chitta is conquer. So you got to conquer your defilement. To remember his name next time if something happened. Huh? Yeah, China also conquer, but Chitta is to conquer. China is to win, right? Anyway, so you gotta conquer your defilement. That defilement, the one that who's make noise and then you get angry, that's your defilement. You gotta get over that on top of it. Okay. Yeah. No, you can't close the door. Yeah, you close the door, but there's still noise, Or what about barking? And what about many other noise out there? You can't shut the wall up, no. So, but it'd be boring if there's no noise. There's no object for you to practice, with your mind. So, in a way, come to appreciate it. Hey, thank you for making the noise so that I can see my mind better, so I can work at it. You can't scold that person. You should be grateful because they are the great object for you to see how high, how advanced you already achieved, right? Yeah. So, go back to one thing that he did mention about don't care about the body. When we see this body is not my body, that doesn't mean you reject your body. But you see the understanding, the nature of it, that there's no controlling of this body. If you own this body, you should be able to control however you want it. You want it to remain beautiful and appealing at all time. And don't ever change, don't ever degrade it. Then it's your body. But you can't. Over time, it will degrade over time. So you have no control of it. That's the true understanding. But then again, in conventional world, when you communicate, you use my body, my wife, my family, my house. It's the conventional to talk, to differentiate this house from that house. That a lot of people say, wait a minute, the Buddha always talk about not me, not mine. But then again, the Buddha also mentioned, this is my son, this is mine, this is here. It's about convention communicating. There's two types of truth, conventional truth and the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is the reality of it, is the fact. There's no change in that. Conventional truth is just the truth about things around you. To communicate is how you talk to other, differentiate from one the other person like that. Okay, so get that one clear out. Otherwise, you're confused. Even I confuse. Say the Buddha say there's non-self, but the Buddha say my, me all the time, right? You got it? Okay. So, yeah, go ahead.
That clarity, I can see just how the body itself. It's like when you look at the trees, or you look at the sky, you look at nature. It's like you're just looking at nature. This is also just part of the world. Yeah. But and then when it comes to the non-self, there really is no like person. There's no like person inside who's like watching, and so that's when it gets a little hard to understand the mind for me, because it's like we talk about watching the mind. Like we can see the mind coming and going, and we see the different mind always changing. But then at the same time, there must also be another piece of mind that's seeing the change. Yeah. So it gets a little confusing when we say mind, because on one hand, mind is the changing mind, but then there's also the mind that's witnessing the change. And the one that's seeing the changing mind is not really changing.
Actually, that's why we have different functionality up there. The citta is the one that it has the state of mind. In the vijnana is the one that constitutes the knowing, the conscious, the knowingness. So it has it's constantly, but when you practice, you be able to actually look like you step out the circle. You see the thing is going like that. So continue to practice and be aware of it, and you understand deeper.
Because to me, I can see like that when the practice of meditation is that you don't let the natural changes of just the natural world, which includes the body, it doesn't have such an effect anymore, or you're not getting so involved in it to the point that you become more just like detached from all of the changing, all of the sensations. Like if you have pain in your body, you can observe it instead of getting angry and reacting.
When we mention about the word nature, we don't mean nature like nature here. Nature, I mean that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Like you have this body, you will have sensation, pain, or pleasure. Okay? So that's the nature of it. So when you have pain, when you have this body, you
have this kind of pain. Like something hit you, you feel unpleasant. So that's the nature of it. So that's nature in that sense. And also nature of it like, yeah, that's nature of it. That's called also nature. When the body decay, it disintegrate and it just go back, and then it become food for other things, to the nutriment for other things to grow. That's the whole cycle. That's how it is. Because that's nature. A lot of people mistaking that Buddhism is like nature, like the tree, the forest, and the thing. Well, that's nature, but not in the sense. Nature in Buddhism is that's how it is. That's how it works. When it gets so hot, there will be rain coming, because evaporation make cloud, and the cloud will rain, and the water go back to the pond, and then because of the pressure, because of the heat up, and it become the cloud. That's the way it is. We call nature in that sense. That's the way it is. No one make of it. It's just because of the condition you get, thing like that. That's called nature. So our body is the same way. Our body, because we have this body, we're prone to have pain or pleasure. If something, the weather is right, you feel very pleasant. If the weather is not right, you become very hot, very agitated. You feel that's the nature of it, that you have this body. And then the nature of the mind is always in flux, changing, right? And then within that mind, you'll be able to, if you have good concentration, you'll be able to see you have greed in this, right? Or you have thinking this, that. That's how you do it. And then when you see it, then you have another set of information to decide what you should do with it. You should choose the path to go forward like that. So, Yeah, you see the state of mind changes. Like you meditate a moment that something trigger you, you become very upset. But then again, you constantly just don't act on it. You just keep watching it, and then another condition triggered, and then that thing disappear, and then another thing come up. Just like your brother the other day, I always use your brother as an example. He was sitting, and then, not the way he wanted, he become very angry, upset, and he upset at him, the one who brought him here. But then he listened to me, so he not acting out, so he continued to sit. And then as he followed, his state of mind changes. And then he feel happy because he feel calmer and he feel happy. And his state of mind changed to happy, right? So there you go. If you sit and you notice a moment ago, because of this, I get angry. My state of mind is angry. But then again, I keep watching and watching. This state of mind will eventually perish. And then another state of mind rises. Another mind rises. And then with the condition trigger in, because of the calmness of the body, he feels, oh, wait a minute, I feel happy because my mind is calm. Then he feel happy. And when he feel happy, his state of mind happy. And then it trigger another mind that he feel grateful to Matthew who brought him here to have this good feeling. So his state of mind is being grateful. You see, his state of mind change, keep changing, and maybe later on when this happy state of mind perish, another angry mind might trigger, or another happy mind continue to trigger and be more happy, or he stop being happy and get angry again.
In the Arya is no more defilement possible in the mind of the Arya.
Yeah, the area. There's the fourth level of area. The first level of area, Kosodamana, his view, understanding changed. From wrong view to right view, eminently right view. He might still have anger, greed, anger, delusion, but it's more subtle, more refined than the bad one, the Putuchana, the immoral one. You know what I mean? So his greed, anger, delusion get more filtered out.
He can catch it faster. He catches it inside faster.
Yeah, he become, less greedy, anger, and delusion. So his greed, anger, been filtered out a lot. So he doesn't have the girls like very vulgar or very greedy, attached thing like that
normal people would do. So his noblehood is so much better than the Putuchana. Then step up, and the more you step up, the more filtered, the more purified you get into. The third one is no longer angry. The anger root completely removed, right? But he still had a little bit of self-satisfaction, that part of greed and part of the delusion. But he's very purified almost, and to the point that he's an arahant. He's completely removed, completely purified. So there you go. As you go up to the area, you filter out, more and more. Okay, there you go. So the Purishana, the good one, is in, on the process of getting there. So we couldn't consider that one is purified, but purifying, I guess. Okay. Yes. All right. So it's time's up. So we should wrap it up.